Welcome to Creative Brews. I'm Kristen, and this is your weekly dose of creativity, where photography, design, and life come together. So, grab your favorite drink, and let's talk about what's brewing. Hello, welcome to I believe this is 5. Episode 5. Yes. That's what my notes say here on the screen. Hope everybody's doing great. I've kind of swapped up my setup a little. Kind of what I was talking about before when you're setting up for a video podcast. It's a little different than just setting up for a normal podcast that's not visual. So, hopefully the video is better quality and all that. So, for this episode, am planning on talking about something a little different. Kind of, like I said before, I believe in the last episode, I'm not always going to be talking about photography and stuff like that. I'm not going to be talking about one topic specifically, unless the episodes need to all go together, then maybe, but a lot of times I'm probably just going to be bouncing around of the topics. So, yeah. So in this episode, what I plan on talking about, I have quite a bit written down. I was watching YouTube, I think it was last week. Honestly, I think it was before I was about to post my episode 4. And I saw something from someone that I watch on YouTube pretty regularly, and I really like her content. She also has a podcast. She was talking about motherhood, self-love, and manifesting, and it kind of sparked something in me. And I guess how all of that, not motherhood, but self-love and manifesting, was capitalism. And if you're hearing that, you're probably a little confused. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So something a lot different than I usually talk about. And like I said, I know we've been talking about photography and stuff like that. So I figured I'd take this episode in a different direction. Might not be for you. And if not, that's okay. I know these episodes are not going to be for everybody. That's okay. I know everybody has different opinions. And I know some people might agree. Other people might not. Some things might resonate with you that I say, and some things might not. And honestly, that's okay. Everybody has a different opinion. Like I said, nobody's super right and nobody's super wrong. So I just wanted to preface with that because this world is what it is because of all the different opinions and because of all the different angles that you can think about things. And honestly, I am someone who I think about things in different angles because I don't walk around thinking, oh, I have all the answers and I'm correct and everybody should listen to me and, all that. No. I don't have all the answers. And you know what? I might not know what I'm talking about, but if I'm creating an episode on it, then usually it's something that resonates with me, and I kind of want to either add to it or talk about it, or maybe talk about it from a different angle. So, all of that to say, remember what I said earlier. Everybody has a different opinion. You might not agree with me, but you don't have to attack somebody or attack me in the comments. um, I'm just saying that for the YouTube people. I love all the different opinions that people have. Do I agree with some of them? Yes. Do I agree with some of them? No. So, anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into today's episode. I'm going to touch a little bit about motherhood and being a new mom. I honestly thinking about it now. So, I know again not everybody wants to have kids. You know, that's not for everybody. I knew from a very young age that I at least wanted to have two. And I didn't really have like an age, like, oh, I'm going to be this age when I have my children. I, of course, you know, they always talk about the 5-year plan and all of that. And I kind of tried to have a 5-year plan when I was in high school going into college. And it just sets you up for failure. What I mean by that is, I'm not saying do not have a 5-year goal plan, but do not have a 5-year plan where you are going to do this and that and this. And then if that doesn't happen, then you're tearing yourself up about it. Sorry, I had to get my cat because she was just being mischievous. Anyways, back to what I was saying. A lot of times, whenever you have a 5-year plan, like I said, you don't want to beat yourself up about it just because you didn't achieve XYZ. Really, what the 5-year plan really is meant to be is like goal setting, you know. So, and I'm not saying that you're not going to achieve your goals, but it's good to go about it with an open mind and to be okay if XYZ doesn't happen, I guess is what I'm saying. So, yes. I'm trying to get back into my thought that I had before the cat, you know, was being mischievous. So yeah, I always knew that I wanted to have at least two. Like I said, I didn't have an age, but as I've gotten older and older, or you know, with the years, the passing years, in your 20s and stuff like that, I would say mid to late 20s is, and maybe some people think earlier about kids in their 20s, but I knew that when I got out of high school and started college, I wasn't really trying to have kids. Not to say that if it did happen, you know, I wouldn't be able to take care of the children, but it's just, it wasn't in my mind that, you know, I'm going to have children when I get out of high school or when I'm in college. What I wanted to do was just, you know, focus on my future and what kind of future did I want to have, you know. So I wanted to kind of build on that and try to make something of myself, as we all try to do when we're, you know, coming out of high school, going into college and stuff like that. So that's the game plan usually. So, anyways, let's see. I think, like I said, mid to late 20s for me was when I started thinking about, a family and do I want kids? Do I want marriage? Stuff like that. I've never really been like super traditional, as far as, that goes. So, you know, I always knew that I at least wanted to have two. I didn't want a big family, I didn't want to have 12 kids, you know what I mean? Like, there's some people out there that, well, I want to have, 12 children, and, that's a little exaggerated, but you get what I'm saying. So, yeah, then late 20s happened. It just, honestly, it didn't happen because it wasn't meant to. The timing wasn't right. The people that I was with in relationships wasn't right. It just wasn't right, So, and then fast forward kind of to my 30s, you turn the big 3-0, and, you know, I started thinking about it a bit more because they all say, us females, they all say that women have an internal clock and all of that. So I didn't want to keep waiting and then lose the opportunity, basically. Plus, two, you never know about that type of thing because not everybody can have children, unfortunately. So, some it's easier, for some it's not so easy. So, yeah, I also took that into account. And honestly, I really didn't know that I could have children. Nothing happened to me. Like, I didn't have a doctor say, well, you're going to have a problem trying to conceive or trying to have children. But it was just something inside of me, like, like your conscience. And it was probably more of a worry than anything. And I think it was just a worry, like it started out as a worry thing for me, and then it kind of snowballed into, oh my God, I've had this happen and that happen, and it should have resulted in a kid. Like we all have scares. um, it just, like I said, if it's meant to be, it will. And I definitely live by that mantra, if that's what you want to call it. If it's meant to be, it will. What's the other sayings? I can't, they're not coming to my brain at the moment. But, anyways, definitely did tell myself, well, if it doesn't happen in my 30s, then honestly, I will probably just have to be okay with not being a mom and not knowing how that feels, and maybe try other things. Like, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff these days that if you do want to have children, you could adopt, number one, which I definitely thought about. You could get a surrogate. Um, you know, I know there's IVF these days, which all these things are very expensive, obviously. And adopting is a very lengthy process. I feel like all of these are a lengthy process. It's not just adopting. Anyways, so I hit 32, and well, it happened for me. I got pregnant, which was very crazy. I found out I was pregnant in, I believe it was early March of 2024, not too long ago. maybe, so this is March 5th when I'm filming this. Probably by the time I upload this episode, maybe it was rough. Well, no, I think, geez, when did I take the pregnancy test? Because I believe we conceived around like March 10th, maybe, or something like that. So, yeah, not too far from today. So, maybe when I upload this, it'll be on the the conception day. But excuse me. Anyways, so yeah, when I basically knew that I was pregnant because I had started walking again and trying to get into sort of like a workout routine. I was trying to, build on starting with walking and then build on that. And I was on a walk one day and my watch picked up basically like an irregular heartbeat, sort of. And it was different, so it told me about it. And, it's like, hey, you need to watch this. um, and so I remember thinking, ooh, that's not good. I need to watch that. And so I figured what I would do is just, make sure to keep a watch on it, So that happened, and then I had a few other things happen. If you guys are interested, I could go through, how I found out I was pregnant, the cravings, my first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, all of those things. But I just kind of wanted to touch a little bit about motherhood and being a new mom. And for me, like, it is the most amazing thing ever. Honestly, I don't think I can put into words how I feel, just because I feel so much. Because, your body is amazing and it creates this human being, and then you have the human being. And you continue to watch your son or daughter grow, So it's just amazing. Like, the whole thing is just amazing. And if you have any kind of complications, which hopefully you don't, I sort of did a little. But honestly, I would go through it again, I definitely don't regret anything. I mean, obviously. um So it's going great. I Like I said, it's still in my brain. I'm still like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a mom." So it's still crazy to me, and I I'm sure there will come a day where where I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm a mom, whatever." I don't think so because I'm someone who, I don't know, I feel things on, I feel like, a different level than other people do. And I'm sure we all do. I'm sure we all think that about ourselves. But I'm very sentimental, very put myself in other people's shoes, which is basically very empathetic, I guess you could say. That's a good thing and a bad thing because it's a good thing because, like I said, you can see things from different angles. You're not just one angle minded, or I think of things in all kinds of different ways, which again is a good thing and a bad thing. And then the bad thing is that when you do put yourself in other people's shoes, sometimes it allows the other person to take advantage of you. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. So I'm not saying that everybody is going to do that. There's good people out there, but if you're, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes that's not really a great person, well, you either might get used or abused or, something else. So That's why I say it's like a double-edged sword to be like that. Um, it's a great thing, and if you are like that, don't stop. It causes, you know, you pain, but it just means you're a great person. So, um, which is another thing is when I do put myself in other people's shoes, I can, like, if the other person's in pain, I can feel your pain. And I don't mean, oh, yeah, I understand. I know where you're coming from. You know, I mean that I can feel your pain like as if it's my pain. And I think it's because the empathy and you take on other people's, whether it's a trauma or, you know, so, and I'm not talking about, oh, I stumped my toe, so, you know, and I'm over here in pain, or you're over there in pain and I can feel that pain. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like a psychological, I guess, like in your brain. Um, I can usually, like, you can usually read people very well, body language, stuff like that. Kind of going off on a tangent. Let's reel it back in because I'm not talking about empathy today. Talking about motherhood and being a new mom and um, self love and manifesting and how that is capitalism or how it could be capitalism. I'm not saying that, if you practice self love and manifesting or manifestations or anything like that, oh, it's all capitalism. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is so we'll start with, okay, so I'll go back to the motherhood and being a new mom. If y'all want me to go more into it, then maybe I can set aside an actual episode just for that because we're already 20 minutes in and I haven't even touched on the other topics, which is why I only try to keep it to like maybe 2 or 3 topics because I get to talking and I get off on tangents, like I said. So we'll start with self love. So, like I said, if you're someone who, you treat yourself every once in a while to, I don't know, getting your nails done or your hair done, or if you're a guy, you go and you buy yourself something. That's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like we are all on social media and we all see those, whether it's a reel or whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Instagram or TikTok. We all see the perfectly curated videos of what, you know, somebody saying, oh, I'm having a self care day. And it's all aesthetically pleasing, and the tones of the video, like the color, the music, and all that is just perfect. That's not self love, and basically is capitalism in some ways. So, again, you might not agree, but again, everybody has a different opinion. So, what I'm talking about is, real self love is is going to be different for everyone. It's not a perfectly curated reel on Instagram. Let's just, and I feel like everybody knows that, but some people see other people on social media and everybody eventually at some point in time compares yourself to that person on social media and oh, they're so perfect and they live this perfect life and they get to do XYZ or whatever. Um, I'm here to tell you that most likely, uh, 9 times out of 10, their life is not like that. Their real life is not like that. Everybody puts up highlight reels on Facebook, Instagram, on all the social medias, you know. Nobody's gonna really put up a super sad post or a post without makeup or, you know, whatever to show their raw self. I feel like more nowadays than ever, that's kind of in, like, to be raw. But a lot of times you still get and you still see those photos and videos of people who, you know, are like, well, this is my actual, you know, life or whatever. Yeah. So self care, like I said, and self love, real self care and real self love is not a highlight reel on social media. A lot of times, if you're actually doing real self care and self love, like treating yourself or doing something you love, you might share about it on social media, but you're not going to sit there and curate like a whole video or reel to post about it. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody loves that perfect aesthetic vibe. And I'm sure everybody has done it. I've done it, you know. I've posted a reel that I really like the vintage feel and vibe and aesthetic, you could say. So I try to harness that in my videos and my reels and all of that. But again, as self love and self care is different for everybody. What I might dub as self care and self love is probably different than what you would. And that's the great thing about it. But, anyways, and it's basically capitalism, obviously, because, you know, a lot of people are profiting from these perfectly curated reels or videos or whatever the case is. And, you know, again, you can, you know, maybe social media is your job or whatever the case is. But, yeah. So I would love to hear y'all's opinions. So maybe even if you have a different opinion, please comment down below. You don't have to be mean about it. This isn't a debate. We're not here to debate and bash people. So we're not here to debate or bash about the topics. But it's an open conversation, and I love to hear people's different opinions. But yeah, so but again, like you can you can basically profit from your social media if you're very consistent, if you have a following, you know, all those things. And 9 times out of 10 people are, you know, profiting or they're benefiting in some kind of way. So of course there's gonna be videos like that. So cheers. I've got coffee again at 4 in the afternoon. It's my afternoon coffee. Usually when my boyfriend gets off work, he'll get home and I'll have coffee made and we'll share coffee together. And see, that could be sort of a form of self-love. So, anyways, let's move on to manifesting. So, like I said earlier, with the empathy subject, I've always, even as a kid, I've always had that. some people have it, some people don't. So, like I said, some people, like, I think the way that I do, but you watching or you listening probably don't think that way, and that's okay. So, manifesting is something like the word manifesting has gotten popular, I don't know, a few years ago. I don't know exactly how many years ago, but again, it's a way to profit and benefit capitalism, all of that kind of, is rolled into one sort of like, okay, so what I mean by capitalism is like buzzwords, you know what I mean? Like everybody, instead of saying, I will pray for you or I will pray about that, they'll say something along the lines of, well, you know, maybe you can manifest that, or the world has manifested for me XYZ. Trying to think of there's another saying that I've heard, like the world provides, and all that. And this is kind of, so this is all these topics are a lot different than anything that I've ever talked about on any kind of platform, because manifesting is very, it's kind of along the lines of all of the, what do you call it? Like, it's very spiritual, very, kind of along the lines of that. Like, not, I don't mean like Christianity, stuff like that, but basically religion and spirituality. So I feel like it's a touchy subject, which is kind of the reason why I wanted to talk about it. Just because I just think it's funny that people who, claim that, oh, I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual, will, talk about, or they'll say, well, I manifested this, instead of saying, I prayed about this. And honestly, at the end of the day, whatever, again, resonates with you is great. You know what I mean? Like, if you say you're not religious and you say you're not spiritual or anything like that, but you're sitting there saying, oh, I manifested this, or I prayed for this, even, really the manifesting part. But, you know, to each his own is where I'm going to leave that. Like, me personally, I've always been sort of, I guess you could say, spiritual to some degree. And I guess a little religious, but more spiritual. And I might, again, I know that's a touchy subject. I might could make a whole episode again just on that topic alone, because I feel like that could be a whole episode in of itself. But basically, also manifesting is usually, so how I use manifesting and all manifestation and all that other stuff, it's not magic, obviously. It's not something that just because you are manifesting something, it doesn't fully mean that it's gonna happen when you want it to. Like I said, it's not magic. It is more so basically it's something that you truly feel inside, and you know it's going to happen, whether somebody's telling you that's not going to happen at all. You're crazy. That's not going to happen. Nobody else's, you know, outlook is going to persuade you to think any different. So, you know and you feel in your body, your mind, and basically all the elements that you know is going to happen. Whether it happens tomorrow or a year from now or 5 years from now, nobody knows that part, but you can, and if you really truly feel it, it's a proven fact, basically, that you can truly manifest, which is why a lot of people are like, talk about luck and, oh, you're so lucky and all that stuff. I mean, it's in some ways a form of luck, but really it's more so, and kind of in a nutshell, like a very broad nutshell, is more so like a mindset. Like, if you're in the mindset that you are not going to achieve XYZ, or you know that you're not going to be able to achieve whatever it is, then a lot of times you're probably not going to achieve it. And that's easier said than done because life happens, and it could take you down all kinds of different roads while you're trying to make XYZ happen or do XYZ. But basically, manifesting is the concept of, and it's often tied to, the idea of positive thinking, visualizing what you want to achieve, and really harnessing that and that feeling. And it's basically kind of like goal setting, kind of like what I was saying earlier, kind of ties in with your 5-year plan or whatever. But goal setting in the sense of, this is my intention and and I'm going to achieve that, basically. So, yes. I have individualism. I almost kind of tongue-tied that written down, but I might go over that in a different episode because this is getting to be a long episode. But yeah, so basically manifesting has become very popular, obviously. Like I said, it's a buzzword. Everybody knows about manifesting. And it is capitalistic because it plays on people's emotions, Like I said, you could put up a video and talk about manifesting and all this stuff. And a lot of times it's not the true version of manifesting or manifestation or whatever. So I kind of just wanted to touch on that. I think in the next episode, maybe I'll touch on the individualism and wealth and success, and basically how manifesting is tied in with that. So, yeah, I don't want to go over this real quick and not give it, the time that's needed. And I've also got consumerism down here. So maybe there's going to be a part 2 of this one. But we'll see. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'm going to go ahead and go. My boyfriend is watching our son, so I'm going to go relieve him. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. I hope that you enjoyed, and hopefully you had a snack or a drink, or both. But yeah, I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.